Section 8.4 is an important point on subatmospheric pressure. So the initial Stanford studies created a device that had applied a vacuum, so a subatmospheric pressure. The theory or the hypothesis being that it'll help to pull blood to the surface so that heat can transfer faster. However, the initial research that Stanford did was actually on anesthesiology patients who were in a state of hypothermia. So when patients are too cold, the default response from the body is to vasoconstrict. So there was actually a lack of blood going to the hands. So they were unable to get hands in. And what they were trying to do is they were trying to warm up patients. So they created a vacuum, a suction, to get more blood to the surface so that they could put heat into the body and then have that circulate and warm up the patients faster. Now, because that was part of the initial design, they kept that into palm cooling. Now, this rationale doesn't apply in the same way to exercise-induced heat stress or heat stress in general. When in a state of heat stress, your body's natural default is to send more blood to the hands, to the surface. The whole purpose of the AVAs is to get as much hot blood as possible circulating through your hands. So there isn't actually a need for the vacuum or for the subatmospheric pressure. When you are in a state of heat stress, your body will redirect blood to the surface. The bigger concern would be if you're gripping something too tight that you are mechanically constricting the AVAs or the blood vessels. However, a vacuum subatmospheric pressure is not actually required. And in 2010, Quinn and team did a study comparing palm cooling with and without the vacuum following exercise in extreme heat, so the exact conditions that we frequently talk about. And they showed that there was no additional benefit from having a vacuum versus not having a vacuum. So palm cooling was effective in reducing core temperature. And in this study, 0.4 Celsius is a significant shift on the core temperature scale. And with or without vacuum, it didn't matter. These subjects were in a state of heat stress. There was blood flowing. It's going to transfer. So subatmospheric pressure is not required, especially in a state of heat stress. What is important to consider is to not grip too tight or mechanically constrict blood flow through the hands. I guess I got one more slide. Many studies concluding positive performance effect of palm cooling. So there are lots of studies that have found positive effects of palm or sole cooling as well, so to the feet, that did not use a vacuum. So plenty of data showing that heat transfer can be very effective with or without a vacuum. There's nothing wrong with having a vacuum, of course. And just to recall or to refresh, the primary contributing variables, and this is based on thermodynamics. The whole basis of the course is based on thermodynamics. Contact time, thermal conductivity, adequate surface temperature differential, and then targeting the right area. So we just want to take a very, very simple first principles approach from a physics perspective on, we now have identified that the hands are optimal for heat transfer. It is now an engineering problem. How do we engineer maximum rate of heat transfer? And that's really what we're trying to do.